Guys, welcome to the Made for More podcast. So I've been doing a podcast with Chloe, if you've been watching me, but I thought I would do something separate from that. That's a bit more for the boys, and I wanted it to be a part of like my brand. So obviously the Made for More podcast, it sort of aligns well with that. On the podcast with me are three of my clients, and I would consider good friends at this point. We have Small Natty Ben Rogers, and Ruben. And these guys I've been coaching for. Ben, fucking hell, this is going to get difficult. Ben Smith, I've been coaching, and Natty Ben, been coaching for over 3 years. Ruben for over 3 years, and Ben Rogers is coming up 3 years.
I think in May.
Years.
Yeah, I think in May.
3 years in May. Yeah,
not too far away.
But me and you have been communicating for around the same time as well, weren't we? Because like you guys joined at the start of my like when I went full time coaching, and me and Ben Rogers were talking pretty much around the same time, because it's obviously a part of the whole Brightman.
Yeah, you poached me.
I don't say that. Don't say that. I'll get in a lot of trouble. That didn't happen. I definitely did not poach him.
I will explain that later. He did not.
You coached by Joe for a bit.
We're fucking hell. Let's not get into that.
I didn't know that.
I'll go through that in a bit.
Yeah.
So we were talking about, just before we start the podcast, we were talking about who the podcast is for. And whilst bodybuilding will be at its core, I think the thing for me with these three guys is that I've watched them grow and develop into extraordinary young men. And I think bodybuilding has given me a platform to be able to give that space and allow for that growth, alongside obviously the bodybuilding as well, the three fucking bodybuilders, and they'll continue to be over the next few years, and I'm sure they'll make their own mark in bodybuilding in whatever way that they so choose. But I want this podcast to be more than just bodybuilding, and that's again title of the podcast, Made for More. I want it to be about like self-development and more insight, maybe more personal and thought-provoking insights as to why we do what we do, how we've managed to grow and change some of maybe the negative mindsets that we have about ourselves, and our perceptions on like the world around us. And I think that's what's made these guys make so much progress over the last couple of years. And yeah, so it's quite all-encompassing. And I'm sure you'll get to realize that over the course of the podcast. So we'll start with introductions. I'm going to introduce myself last as to what I do, but I think it's fairly straightforward. We'll start with Ruben. Come on, hit me, mate. Talk to me. What are you about? Who are you? How long have you been doing bodybuilding?
I just got very nervous. So I came to you when I was in uni, and anyone who's been to uni knows that it's not the most optimal time to try be a bodybuilder. So then towards the end, I was like, I'm just going to do my own thing. It's now or never if I want to take on the natural bodybuilding side and just dip my toe in, see if I actually enjoy it as much as I think that I would. That's when I reached out to you. We went through a whole natural off season. We went through the natural prep, and then went assisted off the back of that. And the one thing that we learned was just improving the process the whole way through. And it did help to have the natural off season, the natural prep, the post show, and then have all of those boxes ticked off, because it has just fed very nicely into every phase after that.
I can't lie, Ruben. I think you pretty much did all the hard shit at the earliest as quickly as you could, in terms of like the problems that you came across and the battles you've had to face within literally 18 months of us working together were mental. You didn't have an easy ride.
That's what I mean. It was like the worst circumstances to try be a bodybuilder, and I think you had something similar during your prep, where it's like you were playing on veteran mode. So anything after that is going to feel like it's going to be a breeze. But if you can nail your process in really shit circumstances, you'll just fly by when everything else is supporting that. That's why this like. The plan for a prep from here would be when my lifestyle completely allows me to be as good as my process will allow me to. But yeah,
I think you massively underestimate how fucking important that is. I think we all do, and it's one of the reasons why I'm not prepping now. Is for exactly that reason. This is going to get difficult. We need more. We need different nicknames.
Right, I'm just gonna quickly butt in. Is Ruben like delayed on your end, or is he good?
No, He's
Let me just. Can I just quickly stop this recording just to make sure it's all
of
good
course
from my end.
Right, we're back in. We're just checking some technical difficulties there. Were we on? Yeah, jobs. So what we do. Let's do the bodybuilding thing first, and then we'll go around for work. So Ben, talk to me. What's your bodybuilding experience? How did you get into it?
Me or the other Ben?
Big Ben.
All right, so
this is gonna get.
We'll go Big Ben. Big Ben, small Ben.
Okay, let's do that.
Yeah, we'll do that. So where'd I start? I got into like physique development coming at the back end of COVID. Just during COVID, mate, like I think everyone just got pretty out of shape, didn't they? But for me, like it was bad. Like I was just smoking weed every day. I was going to the shop buying like
that's what lockdown's for.
Literally. But yeah, it was like just eating like crap. And I got to like near the end and I just looked at myself. I was like, this is horrendous. And I don't know if the gyms were open again or they weren't, but I wasn't comfortable enough to go to a gym. So I literally went online and bought like a weight rack, a barbell, which was extortionate at the time. And then I was like, I need some weights, but they were like so expensive. So I made some concrete weights. I'll try to get a picture. And yeah, I literally made like a mold and made like concrete weights. I made like 420s, 210s, taped them all up with black tape. They actually looked all right, to be fair. They weren't bad, but just started doing just like the full on basics, what I could do with a barbell. So like deadlifts, squats, benching.
Wait, did you say that's when you started?
So when I started, yeah. So
you weren't like going to the gym doing anything bodybuilding related before that?
No, nothing at all. So I think I was like, what, 20, 23, something like that, 22, 23. But yeah, it was mainly just to get in shape, like just to lose the body fat I had.
You were a bit like, without sounding like an arsehole as well. Like I've seen that photo. You were fat.
Yeah, man. I was like,
in lockdown.
I was like 100 and I must have been like 107, 108 kilos, like with no muscle as well, like absolutely nothing. So yeah, from there, just learned how to lose weight, got all of that weight off me, and then I was like just like a stick. So I was like, all right, I need some muscle now. Started going to the gym. Gyms were open then, started just going to like a pure gym. Then got into sort of bodybuilding through like naturally just looking at how to build muscle and the content you consume. And then that led me to Joe Brightman, which at the time he was like quite a big figure in bodybuilding. You ask people now, like newer people to this sport, they literally don't even know who he is. It's wild. Like I was speaking to
was that like the Bridgman Brightman TM cycles?
100%, yeah. It was that.
Yeah.
I actually wanted to go with Bridgman, Josh, but he was just a little bit too expensive at the time. I actually wanted to go with Josh. So, yeah, same. Like so, Josh was like the original one who wanted to go with, but ended up going with Joe. And I was with Joe for maybe like coming up to like a year probably. And then he did like the team meet. He did like a team meet, and this was when he had Max under him as a coach, and went there. And to be honest with you, I barely even spoke with Joe that night. It was just, I just cracked on with Max. Like we just got on really well, didn't we?
And,
yeah.
Who else was it? Was
Zal,
that's it.
Zal.
Yeah.
Where's Zal?
His ears off, weren't we, all night?
Just got on like stupidly well. And then from there it was, I didn't leave Joe straight away. I stayed with Joe for a little bit, but I do a lot of work up in Sheffield where Max lives. And you invited me around one night, didn't you?
Yeah.
And we just had a night where we just spoke for hours. And from there it was like, I think I want to go with Max to be coached. And then I think like a few weeks later, Max was like, I'm leaving Joe. And I was like, I was going to leave Joe and come with you. Timing on that.
I did the opposite when I joined with Max. I went through, I had a whole list of people that I was like, these are the people that if I'm going to get a coach, it's going to be one of these lot. And then I was scrolling through and I did like a few consults with people and I was like, these kids are just a bit shit. And then had a call with, I was like, let's look at Brightman. And then he put a post up with Max in it. And I clicked on Max's thing, like watched his stories. And this was when you were like in the car listening to drum and bass or whatever. I was like, this kid sounds sick. And then I got in touch with Joe. to call Max. And then as soon as we spoke, I was like, yeah, it's not. Like all,
And do you know
all
what
the
I
other
thought you were going to say
put me
then?
off it a bit.
I thought you were going to say, I had loads of other consultations with loads of other people, and I really wanted to go with them, but they were way too expensive, so Max was the alternative.
I remember it was, that was when Luke was on the team as well.
That's
and
right,
then
yeah.
Brightman was like, I was talking to him, he was like running me through, he was like, this is what's going on. I was like, oh no, I just wanted to chat to Max, to be fair, see what he thinks. Because I didn't know you at all until that day, and I booked the consult through Joe like immediately after that, and worked out well.
Nice, yeah.
I didn't know you were with Joe for that long.
Who?
Ben, did you
Big Ben.
yeah, did you go to him with like competitive goals?
So it was, yeah, sort of like, it was like, I kind of know I want to get on stage eventually, but I know I'm so far away, but I just wanted some guidance to get there, basically. So I think off the back end of me losing all that weight, I then went into like my first bulk. You know how that first one goes. It's bad. It's bad. I was just slamming food and I just got fat. So he did like a sort of diet with me. I got like quite lean, not lean at all, not stupidly lean. And then from there it was like, yeah, I do want to compete. And then I think after that, it was like shortly after that diet, that was then when I went with Max. And that was like where the actual, right, yeah, I want to do this comes in.
I remember I was so shy to tell Max that I wanted to compete. I was like on the call, I was like, we were talking about like my goals and stuff, and I was like, and I want to like compete nationally. He was like, that's sick. And I was like, that's not what I expected at all. So I was like, well, yeah, let's do it then.
Yeah, I think when I went round Max's, when I was working up in Sheffield, like the first thing he said to me was like, what are your actual goals here? It was like, yeah, that was like, and it stuck out, and it was like, right, saying your goals, like if you've got like these big goals, when you say it for the first time to someone, it sounds ridiculous to you, doesn't it? Like it sounds weird.
Especially the position I started at in uni, where I was like, I want to compete in bodybuilding. And if you looked at that photo and this kid wants to compete in bodybuilding, you'd be like,
it's exactly the same. Exactly the same.
Mate, I had a consult literally a few days ago, and the kid's going, yeah, I mean, I would. It'd be. I don't want to kind of. That's how we were speaking, and I kind of want to. You know, if I got lean enough in a couple of years' time, see if maybe I could stand on stage. But by the time I'd had the conversation with him, he was like, "I would love to be a pro bodybuilder." Do you know what I mean? Like,
that's very much like.
Why are you shy? Like,
no, that's almost like. Almost like how our conversation went that day.
Exactly the same.
You got it out of me, and you were like, "Right, cool. This is exactly what you need to do to get there."
Yeah.
And from there, it was like, "All right, it is possible." Someone's basically said I could kind of do it if I put this in. So let's just fucking go for it.
That is the biggest thing with coaching as well. You just need someone to hear your dream and then just tell you that it's possible. Just to be like, "No, yeah, you can do that," and then automatically something switches in your head. You're like, "Now we can start executing the plan," because you will just sit around and think it will never happen.
Small man.
Yeah.
Talk to me.
So I feel like this is.
Tell me where your bodybuilding journey, how you got into it, where it all started. Obviously, how you found me. I like these little stories about how you came across.
Yeah, I feel like we've never spoken about that. So yeah, I'll go into that. But yeah, I'm sort of very similar to Ruben in the sense that I sort of started at uni. That's where I sort of really got into it. I suppose before that, and this is very stereotypical because I feel like everyone says this, but come from a sort of rugby background and realised that I enjoyed the sort of strength and conditioning element of rugby way more than playing at sort of a decent level. So yeah, went to uni, started consuming way more content. It was like you said, it was the Joe Bridgman, Brightman, TM Cycles, who else? Glenn Gillett. I was consuming a lot of content, really getting into it. And there were some good gyms up in Manchester with Elite Physique, and started training there. And then I sort of started looking for a coach because I was like, right, I want to take it seriously. I want to make progress. And yeah, was obviously watching Joe Brightman at the time. And he had 3 coaches under him, 2 coaches. He had Max and Luke. And I won't even lie, Max, it was literally just like a 50-50 between yourself and Luke. And I sort of just was like, ended up going with Max in the end. And I'm really happy I did.
That's a good coin toss, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Could have been very different.
I mean, I don't even know what Luke's doing at the minute, but I'm sure he's doing well for himself.
No, neither do I. That's exactly why.
Yeah, but Brightman's fallen off a cliff, hasn't he? I didn't see any of his stuff anymore.
Yeah.
He's just took a very different direction, hasn't he? Like,
Yeah.
He's
very
part
much
of the
went
crowd
away from
that,
bodybuilding.
He's part of the crowd that they. It's like as soon as you stop loving bodybuilding, you hate bodybuilding. Like you just hate having to take part in the process once you don't love it anymore.
And I don't think it's even intentional either. I don't think it's like I mean, he's spoken about it openly, hasn't he? It's not like an intentional distaste for bodybuilding he has. I think he really appreciates and loves bodybuilding for what it is and has done for him. I think he's not in it anymore. And I think when you've been at the level that Joe's been at, when you're not in it, when you're not, like you say, when you're not in love with it, it's very hard to it's very hard to even kind of just like not have friction against it in some way, shape or form.
Especially the sacrifice and shit that comes with it. Everything that you have to do on a consistent basis that takes away from other parts of your life. It's not saying that you could just like half send.
It's like, as well for him, it wasn't like, it's not even a hobby at that point, is it? His whole life is built around it. His whole business is built around it. His whole personality and what people know him for is built around it. If you don't love this anymore, you can't fake it because people will know. So like, and it happens with a lot of bodybuilders. Like it's so full on to the point where if you don't love it, you can't do it. Like
it's like if someone made you go play like volleyball every day. It's like, I don't want to be here. Eventually you are just going to stop. But he still does it. He still takes part a little. I see him in the gym every now and then. He's still got a little.
Yeah, I mean, he's still training. He's still. I think he still like trains.
Looks good too.
Like a bodybuilder or with bodybuilding in mind. I think it's very difficult to completely change your training style after doing it for that long.
I think like if you've been in love with bodybuilding once upon a time in your life, like you'll never go away from training completely. It's part of it.
Do you ever think about that? What you're gonna do the first day that you like hang up the trunks?
Yeah, I'm gonna go do like a fat eating challenge.
No, I think I'm gonna become like one of those like running dads. Just wake up in the morning, go for a jog.
Oh no, you could never. You will never ever pay me to run. Everyone in work at the minute is like obsessed with running. I'm just looking at them like, what's wrong with you?
I thought you were gonna say all the bodybuilders that give up end up doing high rocks and cycling. And
a lot of them do, don't they?
Insanely boring. Like it bores the fuck out.
What, running?
Music, podcasts. Yeah, I honestly I couldn't think of anything worse.
Like steady state cardio
twice a week.
Awful.
Love it. 60 minutes on the stairs.
Do you know what? Actually, no. I tell a lie. Right? I'm a stairmaster. On a stairmaster with like something to watch. Different story, right? But like running on a street, you never catch me do that. Just like
that might just be the
like
UK,
a 10k or a 5k.
I'll tell you what, I'll butt in here just because in the UK, horrendous. However, we went to that beach you recommended in Dubai, Ruben, and they have like a little running track on it. And I was like, to be fair, this would be a nice run. This would be a nice run.
Getting a little tan while you're jogging.
Yeah. So, but yeah, the UK, you're not getting me to run around this place.
How was Dubai? How do you find it?
It was mint, mate. It was really good. The only problem is I'm having like a crisis for being back in the UK now. Like, I just don't want to be here. I really don't.
I genuinely, I landed in the UK. I was so excited, get to see my missus, going to meet her family. Christmas was coming up. 7 days later, I was like, I need to fly back. I can't. Like, the weather was beating my ass.
It's the weather, man.
Man.
It is. It just makes you miserable. I take the dogs out for a walk in the evening, and it's raining, it's cold, it's horrible. And I'm like 2 weeks ago, we were in Dubai. It was like 8 p.m. and I was just walking around in a t-shirt and shorts, and it was lovely. Just like you.
I feel the opposite in Dubai. Did you feel your body like react to the sun? Because as soon as I landed, literally within that day, I was stood outside. I was like, I can feel serotonin.
I was about to say, yeah, it's that like it is like a serotonin.
It's a quick turnaround. Yeah.
Just being somewhere where the weather's nice, it completely changes your mood massively.
Where are you?
See, I think I'm a bit like
smaller Ben.
Say again, bud.
Where are you? Whereabouts are you in the UK now?
I'm like half an hour out from Birmingham. In the family home, so sort of near Coventry. Terrible, mate. It's rained every day in February, like quite literally.
There's nowhere good in the UK, Ruben. Like it's
yeah, because I thought it was just me. Because I was
saying
in
it
Wales.
like it's like America. Like is you saying it's like, oh yeah, we go to Texas, the weather's really good here.
I was there in the middle of nowhere in Wales, and we woke up to go to the gym, and I was like, the floor is frozen. What the fuck am I supposed to do here? Like I can't even walk to the car. I didn't realize that everyone. To be fair, it wasn't much. It wasn't as much rain as I expected. Because last time when I was there, it was just pissing down rain. This time it was just
what's that in Wales?
Cold.
Yeah, Wales is particularly bad for rain and just constant rain, I think.
It was awful.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think with the Dubai holiday weather thing, it is massive. And I think for me, I'm a bit like Goldilocks. So it takes me a while to get into anything new. And I don't just mean with my autism either. I think just like when I went to Abu Dhabi, that was November into December. And it was, I think the average temperature most days was like 26 degrees. It would obviously drop in the evening, but it was something like that. But even then, for me, like that was warm. Like it would, you drop to 18. Like in the evening, absolutely fine. But like in the day, I'm still like panting like a fucking pub. So I think it takes me a couple of weeks just to like adjust to, because it is extreme. Like what's the temperature now here? Like 4, 5, something. I don't know.
It's getting better now. It's getting a little bit warm.
You throw 20 degrees on top of that, and I'm struggling. So it takes me a while to. Oh, it's 11 today.
Today Dubai is 27 highest and 18 lowest, and this is still like we're just coming out of winter now.
It's like a nice part.
Oh no, mate! I did the really smart thing and left for the best part to go sit in Wales. Literally, the weather was getting so nice, and I was like, I think now would be a good time to spend 2 months in Wales. All my clients here and all the boys in Dungeon posting how nice the weather is, and I can't go do steps outside because it's pissing down. But it is a bit aggressive. It's the same as the rain is uncomfortable, especially if you're not used to it. The heat is so uncomfortable, and you need to adjust your lifestyle accordingly. Otherwise, it will kick the shit out of you.
Right. I'm going to ask a couple of questions because I think, well, they're relevant, and I think they'll bring up more with it as well. Bodybuilding, competitive goals for yourselves. We'll start with Natty Ben, because we've had a conversation, haven't we, about your medium, long-term goals within bodybuilding.
Yeah. So.
And I want you to expose yourself and share them all.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like that conversation we were just having about feeling ridiculous when you tell someone your long-term goals. But I want to go pro as a natural, and have sort of felt like that pretty much ever since I did my last show of my first season. So I enjoyed, prep came with its challenges, but I enjoyed it so much, and it sort of reaffirmed how like pivotal bodybuilding is in my life, that's what I want to do. And I think there's way more for me in the natural realm, just in terms of sort of being like, if you go assisted, you're just all of a sudden a small fish in a big pond again. So, and I do genuinely just like love natural bodybuilding. And you know, like all of the
start?
Say again, bud.
When did it switch from like going to the gym and physique development to like natural bodybuilding competitively? What was it that made that switch in your head?
I think, just what the type of content I was consuming. So it went from more sort of like gen pop fitness content to like, obviously like your Keefys, Adam Powell. I used to watch a lot of that. AJ, yeah, obviously.
When I was going to compete naturally, it went from like just seeing people do shit that I didn't know was possible. The first was Bridgman getting as lean as he did naturally. I was like, it's not the drugs that does that part. It's just everything. Like I could do that. And then seeing the strength side of things from like AJ and Keefer, I was like, shit, there's levels. Like you can, if you do things right for long enough, crazy shit happens. That was sort of the itch that turned it competitive in my head.
I think as well, Ben, something that I've noticed with you is I think the progress you've made over the last couple of years, you were saying about being a small fish in a big pond. The progress you've made in the last 3 years as a natural, I feel like it's made that pond much smaller for you in the natural realm. Like, I'm not going to lie, mate, I am very, very impressed with the progress you've made over the last few years. Like, it's particularly stand out amongst any natural physique that I have seen in the last 3 years. Like, and I don't want to take away from any other bodybuilders. and I appreciate you're very young and and you've had all the tools and the tricks and the things to be able to apply to yourself over the last few years that maybe other bodybuilders that are in my field of view have been doing for a long time anyway. So like their ability to progress beyond that hasn't been as significant. However, I've not seen a natural transformation like yours, like, at least that I'm aware of. Maybe I'm looking at it through a certain field of view, but mate, I think that progress, if you go, well, and bearing in mind the conversations we've had and how that seems to be escalating as well, it doesn't seem like you're plateauing or slowing down. It very much feels like you're honing that process and refining everything. And it's either going to maintain, like imagine if you made the same progress you've made over the last 3 years, again, in another 3 years, and more specific to the places we wanted to, because we're now being more specific to that. Like that would be mental. And I actually don't think that will happen. I actually think you can do that faster. I think you can do what you've done in the last 3 years.
It's going to be compounding from here. He's got the experience now, and the things that he was doing, he's going to do them so much better. And it's like the little things. I remember since the time we met at Max's team meet, and Max would post updates. He posted things, and I would see them on his story, and I'm like, holy shit! And to the point where I was like, I'm so glad that I don't have to compare my natural progress to that anymore, because I was like, I didn't do that, and I know Max is applying the same things that he applied to me to you, and it's just working out so much better. I was like, this kid's a freak. Because it's not like Max suddenly got like a new process. It was the same thing that I was doing. It was just you were doing it at a different level.
I mean, for me, that you brought it down like that. You brought that you're on about being a big fish, small pond. I think within bodybuilding, it does separate when you start taking steroids. And a lot of people just go, oh, well, I'm just going to take steroids and my progress is defined based on the amount of steroids I take. Wrong. That is not true.
Have you seen that go wrong?
Yeah.
Like very good natural bodybuilders that it just doesn't.
Oh right, that.
I was thinking
not by memory. No, I can't think.
Because there were a few people that I was following when I was competing that were also planning on going assisted afterwards, and I was like, he's really good, but I wouldn't risk it because he could be so good naturally that I don't want him to jump into that pond because he can just be the guy on the other side. But it usually ends up.
We spoke about that in Dungeon, didn't we, Ruben? About that Jack.
Yeah. KC, man.
But like,
I was genuinely, I would check his weekly check-ins to make sure that it was going as planned.
Yeah, and it definitely has for him. He looks immense.
He looks incredible.
He was I remember all of my friends that came to watch my shows or any of the other bodybuilders backstage, they were like, fuck, do you see that one classic kid? And I'm like, I know, he trains in my gym and he makes me feel useless. He was a freak.
So natural bodybuilding pro. What we got? 5 years? We say 5 years?
Yeah, it's definitely
5 years. You want to feel like you're within reach. 5 years, and it's like it's contention.
I'm very aware that sort of like 30s is sort of the age that people will start to sort of achieve that goal on average. But I've got numbers in my head. But so it's definitely not a short-term goal. But as we were saying, like I'm so confident with my process at the minute, and the level I'm sort of operating at is just getting better and better and better. So like in my head, like it really is just a matter of time. Like I had a little wobble sort of after prep, like recovery, and still just feeling a bit like rats all the time. And I'm still like really struggling with like sort of temperature, like going back to that weather conversation, like I just feel cold all the time. Like why does no one tell you how cold you feel on prep? But yeah, getting back into the groove of things now, definitely building some good momentum, which is nice. So I'm really, really excited to just sort of get after it now.
What was that, the post-show wobble, what did that entail? Because I know I went through
Oh, mate, just really...
It was very similar for you.
Yeah, really struggling with food. I wouldn't say I wasn't bad for it, but I definitely had the like...
How was training performance?
To be fair, that got better almost immediately, just with a bit more food.
That's good at least, yeah.
But yeah, the main things for me were...
As long as the food turns into that, because for me, it did not.
Yeah. Hormonally, food...
Things.
Yeah, hormonally, food focus. Yeah, just like an insatiable appetite. which was annoying.
I can relate to that.
The standard things that are just like
download.
annoying to deal with.
It's so funny, you know, because it's just the everything that I do and I preach and I'm really fucking on it about, because I've done it myself. I've been there and made those mistakes. I've applied it so aggressively with you three, and it's worked a treat. Like he's talking, like he's saying, "Oh, I really struggled with food. I've really struggled with food." Like man's going, "Mate, I've had an extra rice cake today." I'm like, mate, when I first prepped, I'm having like 8 muffins. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm getting through 10 cookie dealer cookies.
For me,
fear of God into all 3 of you.
For me,
I was
it was
assuming
really
it was
like
going to be the same deal, because Big Ben said the same thing. His post show, he had the exact same things in mind as the things that you absolutely drilled into me at the start of prep. You're like, this is what's going to happen in 16 weeks time. Prepare yourself. Don't fuck that part up. So I'm assuming everyone in the call is on the same page there.
Oh yes.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, I think I highlighted the problem to all 3 of you long before you were even near the end of your prep, and I was like, I can't fucking express how fucking important this is. Like, it's the difference between making 12 months of progress in 4 months or going backwards 4 months. Like, not even just staying still. Like, you will go backwards. You'll feel awful mentally. You'll be feeling like shit. Your health will decline because of the weight fluctuations. It's either make or break in those moments, especially the first ones, man. The first preps, people are so fucking vulnerable, and I don't feel like people really appreciate the position that they find themselves in, and I don't really feel like they get the support that they need either. Most of the time, I don't think people get the support.
And that's when you see people give up completely. They dig such a hole that they have to bring themselves out of post show that they just give up on the sport. It happened with so many people that competed at the same time as me in the natural federations. Now they've just given up because
something that Natty Ben was really good at, and I don't know so much as you two, because whilst we spoke about it, we didn't speak about it on the same level as me and Small Ben, Natty Ben, Small Ben. Is just his ability to like sit in it. Like, he would send me voice notes and just talk to me about it, and he was like, I'm going through this, like, and I'm feeling it, and I'm kind of just sitting in this thing. I'm aware of it, and I'm not like, I don't know. It's just ability to articulate how he was feeling, where his thoughts were at, how his mind would deviate into food and the food noise, and like trying to remain busy. And it was almost like the feeling that I got over those voice notes was almost like a level of acceptance with where he was at. It was like, right, I accept where I am. Like, this isn't nice, and that's okay, but it will stop. And nothing I can do in this moment will fix how I feel, because I could literally eat a horse and I'd be hungrier by the end of it. And it's like, it was just accepting this position that he was in. And it was really, really refreshing to hear that you were able to logically like reason with yourself in that sense, because usually, and I think this is your superpower, to be fair, Ben, is you are very logical. There is no black and white. It is all pen and paper, you know, everything on notes, and you can structurally work through everything. There's, you know, whilst you do have emotions, obviously you're not a fucking robot. You're far less emotionally driven by certain feelings and certain thoughts. Whereas I think I definitely am, but I've learned to use my emotions to do the opposite thing, like to fuel. Like I feel emotion and want to do something I shouldn't, but then I use that and then plow it into the thing that means more to me. Do you know what I mean? Like, I want to binge, right? Okay. Oh, I'm emotionally triggered. I want to binge. Oh, this is going to make me feel nice. And then I go, no, what's going to make me feel nice is looking absolutely fucking sick on stage in 2 years' time, like, or winning my pro card, or blah. Do you know what I mean? And then I force it into that instead. So yeah. How about you guys, Ben Rogers, with the competitive goals and your plans?
So yeah, long term is IFBB Pro in classic physique. How long it will take? It takes how long it takes. No rush with that. Short term, we're doing another prep this year, aren't we?
We are.
So in terms of like competitiveness, like this next prep isn't a prep for me to go and win shows or anything like that. It's mainly just to utilize getting lean again, getting some stage experience, and then utilizing that rebound. Because for me, like the post show, like you just explained, it is hard, but if you can if you can utilize that post-show period and stick to it, it's very beneficial. So it's going to be a case of just doing that again, really, and probably not digging myself down as much. Whereas like the first prep, we probably dug a little bit too much, lost a little bit of muscle. We
In
won't
what
have to put.
sense? Just like expenditure and food really low, or
Uh,
I'll tell you what I think it was.
Yeah,
I
so
know what Max is going to say.
I don't think it was either of them. Like there was parts where like fatigue got really bad, and I said to Max that I was feeling bad, but like I probably could have explained I was worse than I was. But it was a case of like, this is prep. I'm gonna feel like shit. Fucking get on with it. Like I can push harder than this still, even how bad it feels. So it was kind of one of them things where it's like, I think you learn from it that sometimes more is not better, especially in a prep. And going into my next one, I know that. But it wasn't the cardio or the low food, because food never really got that low, to be honest. Like I think like my rest day was like 2,400, training day was like 2,600, something like that. And cardio, what did cardio get to, Max? It was never. I don't think I ever ran over like 30 minutes a day.
I was going to say I thought it was like maybe 30 minutes a day.
I think it got to 30 minutes a day, maybe like 6 times a week. I think that was it.
Yeah. Okay.
So like that wasn't too bad, but it was we put it was the T4. I think when we put T4 in, I think it just ate through me. Like
I think so. His thyroid was low on some bloods that came back, and I was reluctant to put the thyroid in the entire prep, because I was like, well, he was, as he's just said there, he seemed like he was managing fine. I didn't think, with the food being high and how he was going and how the weight was coming off, I just didn't feel like there was going to be a necessity for it. He got his bloods done and his thyroid was low, and I put in what I assumed was going to be around a replacement dose, and I think it wasn't. It was not way above that, but it was more than what would be his. And I had no point of reference at that point, so that's a poor mistake on my end.
I don't think so. Like I think we just went like with what the like the majorities and that for replacement doses. Also, also we're forgetting that I had some like. I went through this period where I was having like really bad. It wasn't digestive issues, but like I was just everything was coming out of me. Yeah, like really bad. Like it was just like yeah, it was bad. And I did some research, and they said it can be due to like your thyroid. So when we put that T4 in, it genuinely went away as well, which was like fucking hell, because it's not a very common thing. It was like it took. Yeah, it was just the T4. It took a while for me to like find the thyroid could have been the issue to my like.
Did you get bloods done after you put it in?
After he'd competed,
only once the dose dropped.
No, the dose remained the same, and it was what I considered. I think is what is universally considered a therapeutic dose, like a replacement dose.
How much was it?
As 100 mcg, and as you've experienced, Ruben, that's not a lot for you. You need more. You need like 125.
I was on 125, and it came back like low end of the middle. We put 1.5 in, and then it was like just a little bit above the middle. So I was like, that's sweet. But now I've been like dropping it back down and just going to get bloods done, because that is closer to the replacement dose. I know Luke says his is like 125 minimum. Anything under that, like
this is it. Some people
100 is conservative.
150. I think 100's like replacement, but he was on 100, and I think, did you drop it down to 75? Got bloods done, and 75 was like mid-top range.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah,
just immediately assume that if it's at 75, if it's like top mid, then it's at 100. It's probably high or slightly over the range, and you don't know where you don't know where he's sitting naturally. So it's like, he could have been eating into tissue. I mean, you made a good point about it helping with the digestive thing, but I think a combination of him shitting his guts out for the best part of 10 days and then thyroid drugs being higher than what would be his baseline, and not accounting for that, was probably what ate into a bit of muscle.
How much?
These things are still moving through.
And how much weight did you lose from sort of start to finish?
I think we started around like.
Was it 200? I know you've been up to like 220 something pounds, but you didn't start there.
No, we didn't start that. I think I started around. I'm going to go to
205?
kilos because what I can remember.
Oh.
What is? Let me have a
Get
look.
your sheets up. You try and guess, and I'll pull sheets up.
Let's all take a guess. Closest wins a tub of Hydroflow.
Because that's what I was going to say. I feel that level, like that perception of being like completely shagged run into the ground is nothing to do with food or cardio. It's just that length of time, and you just reach a certain amount of weight that you've knocked off that you just start.
I want to
feel
say.
back.
I want to say I was 202, Matt.
Yeah, I think you were. I've got on the sheets on your recovery phrase prior to starting. It doesn't mention you've not filled it in. I think you're away, but from memory, I think you sent me a check-in saying you're around 202 or 205.
I think I was 202.
The week of your bloods before you started, you were 199, and by the end of the prep, fucking hell. We definitely fucked up the back end of that. By the end of your prep, you were 165.
Yeah.
What were you like the day after though? What were you the day after your show?
Day after my show, my weight didn't move. It kind of stayed the same.
What? Still 165.
That's the best part. 40 pounds.
That peak week, Max put for 2 or 3 days. I think we ran my calories 1,400 higher a day, and my weight was still dropping.
Mate, I still think back to my peak week refeed. That was the best time of my life. We took a week and we were like, okay, 7 days out. Let's just put food in. Next day, see what happens. Assess if we need to put more or less in. And we just kept putting more in and more in. And there's obviously just more carbs. And then we're like, we can't find the end point.
Before we continue, just quickly, because obviously for viewer reference, we've spoken about physiques and stuff, and nobody's got a reference to compare anything to. So I thought that this would be really good. I'll start with Ben's. I've got to find yours, Ruben. I'll do that in a second when we talk about your bodybuilding journey and stuff. But this is Ben Smith's. This is Natty Ben's. This is more recent.
There was a photo that you posted.
That was mad.
You were in your bathroom or something, hitting I think it was the most muscular, and it was nuts. It was.
I want to just point out as well. Ben's going to go, oh, that's not fasted. It is, right? He's had a bit of water and he's been on his feet for about an hour and a half. But they're both fasted photos. If I pulled up some unfasted photos with a pump, and if I really tried to make the most of that transformation, you'd not fucking believe your eyes. It's absolutely fucked. That's the first thing. How many kilos, Ben, are we up?
From
in those, I think I counted 8. I think I worked out there's about 8 kilos of muscle there. I've recently worked that out in my head.
I mean, yeah, you just have to compare sort of where I started, the weight I started with you 3 or 4 years ago to the weight now. And I think there's only 4 or 5 kilos difference, but the body comp is vastly different. So
that is a big thing. That's a big thing with natural bodybuilders as well. They can be the exact same stage rate, but it's that density and the muscle maturity that it is just doing it for longer.
You often find with natural bodybuilders, and I've seen it before, where they're actually competing at a lower weight than they were previously, yet they look way bigger.
Way huge.
Yeah.
It's natural bodybuilding, the margins are so much finer. And it's something I massively respect about natural bodybuilding, because like you said, with Ben's timeline, he's you said 5 years, for a lot of people that they would not be able to accept that, but with natural bodybuilding, that's what it has to be, because it takes so much longer.
That's not 5 years of Ben being kind of
no, not from the start.
He's done 3 years already, and that's 5 years of being ruthless with his process. He's been
I think
for the last couple of years, but
I think if you're
when we saw him in 2023,
regardless of if it's natural or enhanced, I think you need to put a solid decade in before you get to that point where you're at the higher levels in both of them. If you're enhanced, you're still going to need to put in a decade, and a lot of that is going to be with the PEDs. And then natural, obviously the same. You just need to, it's the years that you have under your belt.
Yeah, with natural, it's just rinse and repeat and just get so strong, and it all turns into it. Sometimes the numbers, you can get a DEXA scan and it might say that you're the exact same, but it's the look that just comes together so nicely.
Thought I'd give a bit of a point of reference for Ben as well when he was fat. I found this photo.
Hefty. Yeah, that was definitely COVID, because I couldn't get a haircut.
No, I'm just
And
laughing, thinking about
and then
the photo
this
Max
is-
showed us right before the call of his face.
So this is a good one. So this is Ben's transformation, and these are both fasted. If I got Ben to get a pump on and hit these shots, it'd look fucking way better. So this is Ben's. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, it's
That's
wild.
Ben's transformation. Yeah, and then do you know what's really cool, Ben? I've just been going through our old photos, and this was in the first couple of weeks of me and you. No, I think it was in the first maybe couple of months of me and you working together. And I'd already built a vision in my head of what your physique was going to look like. And I was kind of like building out template physiques to compare to yours and where I think you could go, to give you an idea of like the vision in my head of what your physique could look like. Can you remember me sending you this?
Yeah. Joe. Yeah.
Joe Richardson.
Yeah. I literally remember this. Yeah.
And I was saying, I was looking at his physique and I was like, there's someone that I think you have the potential to look like. Not identical, because I don't want to say anything that'll upset Joe. But like, I was like, I can see a lot of similarities here. There's all the potential in the world for you to be of a similar sort of shape and muscularity, easy, all day long. And I think, again, that within 3 years is representative of that. Ruben, come on then, hit me.
Where were we up to?
Bodybuilding
goes from here.
Yeah.
As much as I always like to say, like it was never the competitive side that appealed to me. It has always just been living the life, the process and everything, just getting fully stuck into that. But it is a goal that everyone has in mind, to be an IFBB pro, or to at least be within arm's reach to compete for a pro card in that realm. So that's always been the goal. But I've given myself such a long timeline where I feel like up until now we've done so much experimenting and controlling damage and just figuring out how we want to do this for when we do push it. Because realistically, in me and Ben's age, we're still early doors, even as assisted bodybuilders. And I think we've used the last 2 years to really figure out what we need to do from here, and we've nailed that process. So from here, the goal is to just put on as much size and then rinse and repeat the things that we've seen work in diet phases.
Something that I wanted to just say, anyone that's watching this, because I hope you don't mind me doing this as well, by the way, guys, because I get these little thoughts and I think it's really valuable for like me to share them with people around your guys' journeys, like the assistant boys, is the amount of time that has been spent between myself and Ruben and myself and Ben working through what we believe is best for them in terms of like drugs and cycles and dosages it's a lot, right? And I think people think there's this like easy ride into bodybuilding, assisted bodybuilding, where you go, oh, I'm just going to take steroids and then get big. And most people, even when they're in bodybuilding, even when they're around the drugs and assisted bodybuilding, most people, including myself when I first started, don't truly appreciate the trouble that you're potentially going to have navigating getting hold of drugs, getting hold of the right drugs, being able to make the right, or get the right combinations of drugs, being able to manage things the right way that you need to, specific to you. Like, testosterone isn't going to convert to estrogen the same way as it is in me, as it is in Ben or Ruben. It's, certain compounds are not going to agree with you. High estrogen is going to look different in Ben as it will with me. Ben, I might get anxiety when my estrogens are X, whereas Ben could run it double that and not have any of those side effects. Like, the amount of fucking shit and problems you've got to navigate and work through and file and organize, and then remember, and then make sure that you reapply later on down the line, is actually mental if you wanted to maximize every part of the assisted side of bodybuilding. Like, a lot of people are so lacking in self-awareness that they kind of just take the drugs and they go, oh, I feel great, and then like 6 months in they'll go, oh, I'm really down and I've got anxiety, and then they come off the drugs and then they forget all about what they were going through, and then it's like rinse and repeat, do it again, throw a different compound in, and there's no real care or like noting of week to week. One of the things I've tried to do with both of these two is like on a monthly basis, go like, how you feeling? Talk to me. What's going on? Like, search your brain and talk about what's been going on for you in your head and how in your body. that might be relevant to this stage of the cycle that we're currently running, which is maybe different to the last one that we did. And you get better at it as well. Like, you know, both of you two, I think Ruben, you were particularly good, but Ben, I think the first 6 months, you were very much like, yeah, I'm sweet, yeah, I'm fine. But like, it wasn't until the second 6 months where you're a bit more like, actually, yeah, no, that wasn't as good as that other cycle, and I do definitely feel like I was doing this, and that's where you start to really, really pay attention to what was going on, and that's what made
you definitely like become more in tune with how things are feeling and reacting with you. But yeah, you when you go down this route, you open a can of worms which you don't expect. Like, it's complicated. You make bodybuilding extremely complicated when you go down this route, whereas naturally is very simple. Like, it is like and when you go enhanced, you do the exact same things, but when you're taking these compounds, you've got a lot of like pharmacology to pay attention to, and it's difficult. Like, it really is. It takes time as well. It takes time to learn how things are reacting to your body, and yeah, it definitely is just more complicated.
It's never as easy as just do what you were doing as a natural, but the drugs are going to work in the background. It's like you need to, every single variable, how your diet is going to allow you to respond to drugs, and how that's going to affect your health markers, what your expenditure, I remember the first bump in the road that we hit was my training when I first went assisted on obviously just 300 milligrams a test. The progress I started making from how much more weight I could push in the gym started to absolutely fry my CNS and my brain, and my sleep went to shit. And
very much the same.
Like the drugs are supposed to help my recovery, but it was the reason that it was getting absolutely
you actually can feel worse from it.
I was training so much harder that like the drugs does nothing to your CNS. It does nothing to your soft tissue. It does nothing to your joints. It's literally just the muscles getting stronger, and the other things couldn't keep up. And we were like, shit, we need to pull the volume right back, because I was just getting too strong too quickly.
I think you're massively overstimulated as well early doors in your experience to drugs. Like, I think your brain is massively overstimulated. I think I don't know about you, but like the first cycle I ever did, I felt like I had almost limitless energy at times, and then I had these massive crashes, and it was like I felt like the energy, the idea of this energy that I had was my brain being constantly like I felt like I was stimming hard, and my CNS must have been fried just constantly being like that. And I think we all get those moments, like you feel like you can run through fucking walls, and then you go into the gym, and then you train, and you're like, oh my god, I feel like I'm gonna die.
I remember I used to tell you that my leg sessions, my last set, or like after my leg press, I need to get my headphones off. I literally would sit in the gym with my hands on my ears because I'm just absolutely fried and overstimulated, because I can go so hard for those leg press sets, but then there's just nothing left. My IQ drops like 50 points. I'm like mute for the next like 3 hours, and I'm just dragging my feet around, and it takes a toll on your body if you don't account for that as well.
For sure.
And especially considering the position that I started at when I first went assisted, but my blood work after my natural prep compared to my blood work like 6 weeks into putting the test in, that was such a drastic change. My body just couldn't keep up there.
You put 70 pounds on your first cycle.
That's because think about it. My natural off season, I went from 99 point something, let's say 100 kgs, down to my prep low, which was like 79.9, and then on stage
I thought it was lower than 80. That, wasn't it?
No, I was like, as soon as I dropped under 80 kgs, I remember sending you a voice note that was like 5 minutes long. I was doing my steps, and I was like, I literally couldn't find the words. My head was absolutely fried. And then you were like, okay, so we're never going under 80 kgs ever again.
I can't remember that.
And then anytime my weight would drop, you'd throw more food in, and then my weight would drop again, and you'd be like, eat more, right? Like,
oh yeah, we were scrambling for a bit. I was like, how do I stop
keep me above. You're like, keep me above 80. You'd throw more food in, and my weight would drop again. You'd be like, okay, we're just refeed, deload. Like, we need to do something here, because as soon as I dropped under that, it was bad. But then the weight that I put on, and the thing is, it wasn't like the post show. We handled it so well. We got, like, if you take the subjective feeling of wellness out of the equation, because obviously I felt like shit. But that time in Thailand, everything was managed so well in terms of what we could control. But I was in such a shit position. If you looked at my blood work, you would understand. But it was, I couldn't train. I couldn't train hard enough to do anything, and my body wasn't utilizing the food. And that's when the celiac kicked in, but I hadn't realized, so I hadn't adjusted my diet, so that was kicking the shit out of me.
Can I ask why didn't we go on cycle sooner when we were in Thailand? Was it because we went to have that conversation? You went to have that conversation with your mum and dad?
Yeah, it was firstly I needed to set a few things up. At first, there was so much changing in my life after that prep when I went from the UK to Thailand back to Dubai, that I wanted to make sure that when I get back to Dubai after Thailand, it was like everything set up to just go from there. That's why literally the last day in Thailand, I was like, Luke, we're doing my first jab. I need to test an anthe, and you need to teach me how to do this. But then that whole time in Thailand was also just, let's get some blood work done, see where we're at, so we can compare it. Because we thought we were going to get like this is what your natural blood work looks like, so we can compare it. And as soon as we saw the natural, we were like, everything's red flag. It's like, that's not a good representation at all.
Mate, right. And this is why I said to you, Natty Ben, I was just saying to you about getting bloods done. It's just like, so that you've got a bit of I think it's just assurance, behind what you're thinking and feeling. And we did this with Ruben, and I think he was like a couple months post show. We were into like back end of November, and we got his bloods done, and both his test and estrogen was like 0. It was, it was about as low as it could get, wasn't it?
My E2, the blood work just said undetectable, and my test was like, it went to 3 decimal places. And, it was like 0.00. And then I remember we did it through that clinic in Thailand where it comes with a consultation if you want it. And then I went in to go pick up the report because you have to go pick it up in person. So I grabbed it, and then the guy stopped me on the way. He was like, the doctor wants to see you. And I was like, okay. I went in, and the guy was like, he sat there and he was like, and I was like, don't worry, I know what's going on there. We know what's caused it. I'm going to go fix it right now. And then
man's goal.
I sent it to Max, and he just replied, oh, you must feel like shit. And I was like, yeah, it's not great.
Man's got less hormones than a newborn baby.
The only thing that was in range, was...
it is fucking brutal.
That was in range was my creatinine, because I just couldn't train hard at all. I wasn't doing any muscular damage.
It's so interesting.
I've never had to experience this. Go on, man.
I was going to say, it's so interesting listening to this conversation, because it's like adding in the steroids, it's like all the compounds even, is like a whole nother level of complexity that if you're not switched on, it's just going to kick you in the ass. It's like a whole new thing you have to consider and be mindful of. And yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, but very interesting.
I think that's the problem with most people taking PEDs though. That like Max mentioned earlier, people just think, oh, I take drugs and I'll grow muscle. It's not. That's not the case. Like it's so far away from that in terms of like the complexities.
Then everyone would be doing everything. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly
that's
like
the reality of it. If it more equaled more, then everyone would do more, and everyone would be on loads of gear. Doing more often doesn't mean that there is more reward to be reaped, but it's not that as simple of an equation.
No, and you've got like also when you start taking compounds and affect your hormones, you, like mentally, if you're not like mentally sound and you're very attached to how very aware of how you feel. If you start introducing compounds and changing your hormones, it's like it's a slippery slope to making yourself feel horrendous. Like it really is.
I'd be worried about that
to make you feel good.
Yeah.
Or relying on them, yeah, which a lot of people do. Like, is you can see how addicting it can be for some people.
I'd definitely be worried about that if I was to go assisted, because I feel like I'm very sort of extreme high or extreme low, and I definitely have that element of sort of like OCD and sort of a slightly addictive personality as well. So I'd be worried about how I'd sort of respond with those things.
So yeah, I think like
on Ben's note, that the thing about being like hyper aware of what you feel like at all times, that is the one thing that messed me up the most going assisted, because I'm the type of person where I will do all the research and like look at everything, But then all of that is sat in your head. So when you start to feel something, you start attributing it to all sorts of shit. And then it's just a spiral that you go down. And that's been the biggest wobble for me. And the one thing that I realized is you just need, get your blood work done as frequently as you want, but send it to your coach. Don't even read it. The amount of times that I've got my bloods done, just sent it to Max. I was like, he can tell me, because if I look at it,
I'm gonna start overthinking.
Yeah, if I look at it first, I'm gonna send him a message that's not gonna be my blood work. It's gonna say, I'm dying. What do we do? So I just don't even bother looking at it.
It's so. Just going back to what you said earlier as well, Natty Ben, I think you made points about it being addictive and your highs and lows, and I agree there. But in terms of your ability to manage it, I actually think you'd be very good, because you're very logical. How you are, you're very structured, very logical, and I think you're very aware of your own thoughts, and you're able to articulate that to me very, very well. And
definitely.
For managing you on this isn't me encouraging you, by the way. I'm just making you aware of that. Managing you on that, I think would actually be relatively easy for me. But then obviously there's the other elements of your personality which might not be very well suited to using PEDs.
It's the awareness.
I've always said there's two people that respond the best to drugs. The people that are just blissfully unaware, like they will just reap all the benefits and not think about, not deep a single bit. Or the other side is the person that can at least figure it out and communicate that to someone that can help them. It's the people in the middle where they feel it and they get scrambled and they don't know what to do and they just give up. You either need to not feel it or feel everything, identify what it is, and then address it. Those are the only two people that are going to do well assisted.
And that's where you two are kind of. It's interesting. I like these conversations because the differences that there's like nuance between each one of you. Ben Rogers, you were more blissfully unaware. You definitely weren't completely blissfully unaware, but you definitely had that.
He was just optimistic.
I'll be all right, or not even I'll be all right, but just like I think I'm fine. I think I'm fine. Whereas
I think you were just always optimistic about it. I was like,
he would panic and he would tell me everything, every emotion he's feeling in that moment, and what he'd remembered for like the last week, and it was like my job to decipher through all of it and work out what were the right ones to make decisions on.
That was the only thing I could do for you, was give you everything. Because if I skim through shit, I'm going to give you the most irrelevant information and hold back the important shit, and you're just going to be sat there like, what the fuck? So I'll just get everything out. But that was also one of the things I was the most scared of before I went assisted. Was I've dealt with like just general health anxiety so badly, and then I was like, adding drugs into that is not going to be great. And I remember talking to Luke about it, where he was like, if you think that's going to be something that's going to cause you stress, the only thing you can do is understand it. Both understand your anxiety and understand the reality of the situation. There was one phase, what was it, last year, where at the start of last year, where I had a bit of a wobble where my head absolutely went, and I was messaging Max and frantically messaging Luke. And then he was like, Ruben, I'm taking like 10 times the drugs that you're taking, and nothing's happening. You're going to be fine. I'm pretty sure I was in a health phase, and I was like, he's right. And then that's the thing. You just have to like make sense of your anxiety, and then make sense of the reality, what the actual risk is, and then just figure out those two things separately, because otherwise you will just spin your head.
I think there comes a time when like there's a. So I don't know about any of you guys, but I've never really had health anxiety, because I feel like I have the information. And I get it, and I'm doing everything I can with that information to address the thing that obviously I don't want to happen, which is make myself ill or extensively shorten my lifespan or whatever. I feel like I'm doing everything in my power to manage that. So beyond that, I'm very accepting of what the consequences are. I'm just like, this is I'm choosing to do this. That's within my control. I accept the pros and the cons of this. I'm also doing whatever I can to manage it. Beyond that, it isn't a thought that crosses my mind ever.
I'm very much the
like
same.
That to me, when I was having one of my little panics, I remember I was like, Max, my blood pressure is really high. And he was like, are you stressed? And I was like, yes, I'm stressed about it. He was like, firstly, that's why. And he was like, you're someone who does 2 hours of cardio every week. You do 14,000 steps a day. You eat healthy. You train. You sleep well. It's like, does that sound like someone who should be worried about their blood pressure? I was like, yeah, to be fair, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like,
there's the people completely on the other side that are just completely unaware.
Yeah, I've never really had like the health anxiety. I know I do everything I can to prevent or assist my health the best I can. And if anything happens further than that, cool. I just come off, and I tried my best to get healthy. Like that is the risk you accept, isn't it? It's like with when it comes to like either losing your hair or
that. I thought you were going to say smoking or like
no, like same as like
innit?
with the sides with PDs, like the main ones, like losing your hair or gyno, like those things are very much accepted, and if they come, I will just deal with it. Like,
if people
I'm not going to stress about it.
If people get those things and they're confused about it, it's like, I don't know what you expected. That's sort of part of the game.
Go on, Ben.
I'm very similar to Ruben in the sense that I can really work myself up with sort of health related things, where it seems like you two are quite relaxed about it. So it seems like the takeaway here is there's like a healthy mid ground where you're not like completely oblivious to how you're feeling, symptoms you may be having. And then there's like the extreme end of the scale where you're overthinking, perhaps more so like what me and Ruben are doing, like overanalyzing every variable, whereas you want to sort of feel the middle.
It's just objectivity. You sit in. That's literally what it is for me. Like, what's your ability to be objective about this subject? Can you take your blood pressure and it's high, and then can you go, right? Well, am I doing all the things that I should be doing to really be managing this? Yeah, I am. Right. Have I been doing something really excessive to be seeing my blood pressure to be like consistently high? No. Okay. Why is my blood pressure high? Oh yeah, I was fucking panicking about doing my blood pressure 10 minutes before I did it. That's probably right. All right. Okay. That's probably why my blood pressure's high. Like, it's the same with your health. So you go through it and you look at your markers and you'll go, yeah, good. There's one bad here, and you'll go, right, this is bad, but everything else is good. And to be fair, I did train yesterday, and it was legs, and there is this, and I do have a high protein, and I'm working through it, and I'm going, all right, I'm going to do this test again when I come off cycle, and I'm going to make sure I have a couple of days before I do it again. I'm going to make a note across that, and then when I do it again and it comes back green, I'll be like, right, okay, that was the reason. It wasn't because I'm dying. I've got liver failure.
You see, the thing is,
skewed.
We've spoken about it before. Anxiety is never it's never logical. The shit when I was natural that I used to worry about, like, in my head, I know the chances are so low, and it sounds crazy. But there would be times when I'm sat there and I literally just get, when you just suddenly get like a little cough, you inhaled some saliva or whatever. And I'm like, this is how everyone with lung diseases, this was step one. Like, I just experienced it. And then I go through all the emotions of like actually experiencing that illness. I'm like, no, I've just accepted it. And then it causes me anxiety for ages. And then it goes away, and then something else pops up.
Ruben gets like the equivalent of what women's phantom pregnancies, but he gets that with illnesses. Like,
no, he genuinely manifests
he convinces himself he's got pneumonia, and he's not. He's that convinced that he's bringing up symptoms of.
You should hear the way that my girlfriend responds to these things. I'll send her a message. I'm like, okay, don't panic, but I'm pretty sure I've got skin cancer. And she just replies, she's like, well, no. Just immediately shut it down. It's like, well, no, that's not the case. And then I give her the explanation, and then she's like, yes, I also have a freckle. I think you'll be fine. And I'm like, yeah, sounds stupid now. But in my head, I'm fully convinced. That's why throwing the drugs in, well, to be fair, now, so far this year and at the end of last year is when I've been able to shake that off. The way that I did it was not the way that I would recommend people doing it, but I was so deep into the research side where it was like, I'm so aware of all the risks that I can manifest these things to happen. But if you take it a little bit further and understand as like almost everything there is to know in terms of the things that you're worried about, then you can make peace with it. The other side is a lot easier. Just ignore it. It's not going to happen. And then if something that is alarming pops up, address that.
I think the problems arise when you're doing a behavior that for instance, like you said there, Ruben, about like the lung thing. Maybe you were fixating on that because you were pretty bad for the vaping, weren't you? In that first breath, I remember.
Mate,
that'll like reinforce it.
That's why I had to quit vaping.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't be surprised if I get some sort of lung disease because I vape like, oh, get out. I was hitting PRs for how quickly I could run through that 600 buffer. It was bad. It got to the point where when I first went assisted, I was like, let me drop everything else that could contribute negatively to my health, just so I know that I'm taking the smallest possible risk. So it's like just eating healthy, staying active, quit vaping and whatever. But it's always still there.
Sorry, go ahead.
There was a time when I first went assisted, every jab, every jab I thought was going to kill me. It was rough. We figured it out.
I was gonna ask some questions. I've wanted to go over something. I need to pull them up first, so you guys are gonna have to fill the void for the next couple of minutes. But they're unrelated to bodybuilding, but they've come about from. Sorry, 1 second. Let me just pull the thingy back up. So yeah, they're unrelated to bodybuilding. Well, you might be able to relate them in some sense, but we spoke about. I'm going to ask one of the questions. We'll go around and we'll all have an input because they're potentially like it'll go on for a while. But this is off the back of the business mentor which I've brought on, right? And he sent me something. He's trying to get to know me and trying to get to know what's important to me, my values, like what I look for in clients and that kind of stuff. And so he sent me a load of questions, and it brought up a lot. There was a lot of interesting answers to these questions, and what I wanted to do is just bring up some of these and throw them at you guys and see what your feedback was. But until then, let me just go and find some. Until then, I want you guys to just continue chatting away. Pick the subject.
I've got some questions for Natty Ben, but is he still?
He's gone.
What, gone?
Sorry, boys. 1 second.
Nah,
One second. I'm just relocating because everyone in the house is wanting to use the kitchen. Just give me 2 secs.
Big Ben, while I got you, how long did your last prep go? How many weeks was it?
I think in total it was like 25 in the end.
I mean, yeah. To be fair, feeling like you're falling apart by then it's not abnormal either, is it?
Nah. But
this time
to be fair, like I got,
quick one.
Yeah, I think we're going like 12 weeks this time. Last time as well, like I started in way worse condition, but I got lean quite quickly.
You did
Like,
lean quick.
Like my glutes were coming in. It was just like I had a little bit like the lower back just was taking forever, and we dug too hard to get that in, which we shouldn't have done really. I should have just took the hit on the lower back and just been a lot more fuller and bigger. Yeah. But you learn, don't you? It's not the end of the world.
For me, it's my abs, man. My abs and my face hold fat for so long.
Your face.
Yeah. We're gonna have to dig for you to get a jawline, but the glutes will be in.
Right. Okay. So I've got a question, like a motivation, not motivation, but like a mindset related question, which I thought was really good. And the question is, I might do another one after this, but the question is, how do you motivate yourself on days you feel disconnected or low? How do you motivate yourself? And I know lots of people are going to go, discipline, not motivation. Right. Using motivation to be a discipline is a fucking great tool, right? Motivation is a great tool. So what do you do to inspire you, to motivate you, to feel like it's a tool that you can use to put a rocket up your arse? Maybe not even when you know you should be doing things and you're going to do it anyway, but to just give you a little bit of enjoyment or a bit of energy towards those things to get you going. I've written my answers down, so I'll see what you guys say first.
I can lead.
That's a good question. So what
Yeah, go on, Ben, you lead.
I would say, and this is probably quite unhealthy, but I genuinely like to think about how finite time is. And if I can convince myself that I'm running out of time, that puts a rocket up my ass. That's the genuine, answer for that.
That's awesome.
Like, I use that a lot. And I also think that you will, not to go into the discipline thing too much, but you're not going to wake up and feel that like awesome motivation. It's after you've woken up, you've boxed off your steps, you've hydrated, you're attacking your training session. It's like doing those things will build the dopamine, the motivation, and all those things that are going to make you feel like forward center of mass.
Yeah.
I think like that's pivotal, to be honest.
What you just said there about like seeing time as finite. Who does that thing when you've got all day to do something, and a normal person would spend probably 2 hours to do it, and you leave it all day to do this thing, and then what should be a 2-hour job you end up doing in 45 minutes, but you do it at the very last minute? Who does that? Who puts stuff on?
Mate, it's the story of my life.
Same. But when you do it, you do it faster than anyone else could do it, because you've like just turned the turbo on, and that what that is it's urgency, right? And what you're doing is creating a fake sense of urgency. That's fucking awesome. So yeah, I think
that's a good one.
cool.
It's a good one.
And what you said a minute ago about that forward centre of mass, that was my third one. I wrote that 3 down, and it was action equals motivation. Convince myself that whilst I'm not motivated in this moment, when I do the next, like I'm almost telling myself, if I do the next 2 or 3 jobs, I'm going to feel good. I'm going to want to do the following 10. So all I need to do is just this one. I don't know if anyone's done this thing with stuff, but you've got like 10 jobs to do, and you'll go, I'm just going to do this one, and then I'm going to stop. And then you do that one, and then you go, I'm just going to do another. I'm just going to do another. And
it makes you feel better, doesn't it? Like, as soon as you tick one box off, you're like, I feel better for that now. I'm going to do the next thing, and then you just continue, and then you get it done.
That's what it's like for check-ins with me. I'll genuinely, I know people will go, oh, you should fucking love your job, whatever. And I do. But sometimes I put it off because I know I'm about to plunge hours worth of my time into this thing, and I want to make sure everything else is right. And I procrastinate a little bit. It's always that first one. It doesn't matter who I'm doing it for. It's always that first one, which is the hardest to just get going. Once I do the first one, I'm flying next.
Are you selective of what note you start off on? You've got all your check-ins. Do you just do it chronologically, or do you pick one where you're like, we'll start here and make our way through?
I think some of you know the answers to this, and I don't want to say.
Because I know I do that. If I've got someone in a phase who realistically, it's just, there's not going to be many changes. I just need to address the data at hand. But then I know there's someone who is coming with a lot of training footage that needs addressing, and they're in a stressful time, so loads of variables need. It's like, let me knock these quick ones out of the park first, warm me up for the big one. And it's not like I'm avoiding.
See, I'm the opposite.
They're still going to get done.
I'm completely opposite to that. I hate doing short
note.
check-ins. I hate doing short check-ins. It's the worst thing in the world. You give me a 2-3 minute check-in. Don't want to do it. You give me a 5+ minute, 10-minute check-in. Great, I love it, because at least I've got something to talk to you about. I can fucking chew your ear off. When I sit down and someone's got like all the same fucking information from the last week, whether it's legitimate or whether it's not, maybe phase depending, everything's just kind of the same. The worst thing I can do is look at that and go, nothing needs to change. He went to bed on time every night. Perfect. He trained. Everything's perfect. He's eating. Everything's perfect. His weight's moving perfect. Like, what more am I supposed to give you in this check-in? I feel almost like a fraud. I hate it.
Yeah. You've said that to me a few times where I'm like, mate, if I open my WhatsApp and the little preview says like 4 minutes, I'm like, sweet, we did good this week because there's nothing that needs.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the ones where.
Thing is, if it's
you either don't believe the data in there and that needs to be addressed, or it's like everything's so bad that you need to start from scratch and go, this is what we need to do in terms of sleep, then diet, then if you have to go through everything, that is
the rough ones for me is when you just know they're not being honest with you. You've got to like try to get it out of them. Like you're looking at the data and you're just like, logically this isn't the case. Like I know something's been off here, but how do I get it out of you? That's the hard part.
Safety. If you want a coaching tip, safety. That's what you do. You need to. What makes you feel like you can be honest with me?
Yeah, like you said,
because there's no judgment. It's safety.
100%
you can
that.
come to me and you can go, yeah, I've done this, I've fucked this up, and it's the third time I've fucked this up on the last 3 weeks, and I'll go, all right, mate, right, like that's all right, but let's have a conversation about this. Why are you fucking it up? Why do you keep doing this thing? Let's talk about your goals. Remind yourself of, is it you not being disciplined, or are you falling short, or is something catching you out and it's stopping you from doing it? And that's the best. Create safety for someone. Create space for them to feel comfortable enough to come to you.
Yeah, when I first started coaching, that was one thing that I struggled with my clients, and I knew that it was never even a thought in my head to put shit on the tracker that wasn't true, or to like completely omit pieces of information. And I was like, what am I doing as a coach to make them not feel that way? When obviously, like, the relationship I've had with you, Max, has always been like, if anything, you get even more out of me than is necessary for the coaching process, but it helps for you in the background.
Sorry,
Ben, and it took me a while to figure out what I needed.
I just want to say as well, that wasn't, I don't want you to think that was a criticism on your coaching ability. I think it's very,
not at all.
I think it's very, very hard for people in general This is something that I think me and Chloe are actually very, very good at. But I think it's very hard for people in general to create safe space for people that they're not uber familiar with anyway. And something that I think is one of my superpowers as a coach is I'm very comfortable with being vulnerable, right? And I will. All three of you have seen me be vulnerable in some way, shape, or form, right? And I have offered that up to you. And when someone's vulnerable with you, it makes you more comfortable being vulnerable with them, right? And if I come to you and I go and I tell you something about myself, or I explain something or express something, you don't judge me for it, and I love that, right? But then it also shows you that the same will be applied if you're this. Do you know what I mean? And that's how you create the space. I also think when you've got people around your age, it's harder to do. I think me being a bit older, it creates like an authority that there's like a dynamic between us that also allows for that much easier.
I think that is just something that you're very good at though, Max, because I remember that was one thing when that was the first non-bodybuilding thing that I recognized you having like a huge impact on for me, was my ability to be vulnerable and to communicate exactly what I was thinking and to feel comfortable doing that with someone. And for a while it was like I was noticing the way that we were communicating. I was like, I literally didn't know how to navigate that sort of communication because it just wasn't something I was familiar with doing. But it helps with the coaching process so much. That's why your ability to get more out of people it's very important.
That is like, you ask any of your clients, Max, I think that's like your super 100%.
Yeah.
Like, I can tell you anything, like literally anything, and I've never really been able to do that with anyone. So like, and I think like it depends, doesn't it? Because some people work better when they're close with their coach. Some people work better when it's more like a dictatorship. But for me, it's definitely being close with you has just only helped me.
It's so difficult as well.
In the time that we started people noticed that about me, and I was like, I don't think I'm doing anything different. And then I realized it was just the impact that you were having.
I was going to say, it's so difficult to try and understand what the right and wrong way to manage someone is. Like, everyone's got their own idea of what coaching is, or what being coached as a client or an athlete, what being coached is. But I do think there is I do believe there is a right and a wrong way, and how, you know, some people get too close with the coach. I have got too close with clients before. It's been to the detriment of our relationship. I've made that mistake. And I think one thing, no. In fact, no, I take that back. I have allowed boundaries to be crossed within our relationship. That's what I have done. It's not about being too close. I'm mega close with all of you, right? Little Ben, we've not gone on raves or gone on holiday together, but how we communicate is fucking awesome. And I know I've created a space for you to be able to come and speak to me about anything. I would like to think if you ever needed someone to lean on and it wasn't family, you'd know I would always be there for you. And I love our conversations. Me and you, Ben, Big Ben, you know, we've gone on raves, we've done raves together, we've done fucking, you know, mental shit, and we're mega close in that regard. Ruben, you've been around my house, I've had a party around mine, you've been here, we've lived together for fucking nearly a month. Like, we're mega close. Now people hear this and they'll go, how can you not say he's not too close, or he's not what? It's about respect. There's boundaries. We're all really fucking close, right? But there's a level of respect under the circumstances that we have as a client or athlete coach, that we all understand there's a boundary in place and that boundary isn't crossed. And I couldn't be able to communicate to anyone watching that what that specific boundary is, like as a definitive thing. I know it, what it feels like, and I know what it feels like when it's being crossed. And you three have never ever even come close to that, and that's why it works so well, is because there's that line. I feel like there's a mutual understanding of where that line is. We can be very close in and around that line, but there's still something there that we all acknowledge, and it allows us to keep this relationship really fucking solid and productive. And I think, and whilst I don't want to say that's the best, that is the best way to coach, because I know that there are great coaches out there that don't work like that. I think it is one of the better ways to be coached.
I also think that you said something in 2023 when we all went to the team meet there, where I was like, why do I have so much in common with this random collection of people? And you said that it was just a case of like, your vibe attracts your tribe, where it's like you've put energy out there that people have responded to, and the ones that stuck around are the ones that do well in those circumstances. So the people that
that's a good point.
the people that responded to your communication style, they're the ones that stuck around and you got the most out of them. But with you, it's always been your ability to just switch between your friend and your coaching personality, where even in Thailand, when we would just be like fucking around, and then I'll ask you a question, you go, oh, this is a coaching question, and you put your coach hat on and respond as a coach, and I'd be like, nah, I'm a client in this conversation, and then we can switch back to immediately afterwards, which is when that goes away, when you don't find that distinction, that's when things get a bit tricky.
And I've had that. I have had that, and I think you just, as a coach, you grow and you develop that, and you develop. And you refine it, making sure that you're not giving any maybe signals that suggest that line can be crossed, because it is very frustrating when you feel like you're losing that line, that boundary. The question, I'm going to go back to it. That was a great answer, by the way, Ben. We've kind of gone on a massive tangent, but that was a fucking great answer. Big Ben, the question. So it was, how do you motivate yourself on days you feel disconnected or low?
It's difficult. I'm very busy, right? Like I don't have a lot of free time, so my days are just they happen. Like I've got to do the shit that I've got to do just because I'm so busy. In terms of like motivation, do you know what? I went and grabbed this recently because it is genuinely
sick.
I've nicked it from our office, but like that.
This is when Max pulls Chloe's out from underneath the desk as well.
I don't know, but just seeing that like every single day, it just lights a fire up my ass. Like even if I'm not motivated for it,
that's a visual to go off. That's
minimum. Yeah. Just by seeing that and being like, that's what I'm after, and like we spoke about this, didn't we? Like nothing changes when you get that card. Like nothing changes. Like nothing's changed for Riv, and to be honest with you, it's a fucking bit of fucking card, but like. I think it's the meaning behind it and just seeing it every day and knowing that that's what you're going for. That's what you're striving for.
It's the representation of what that card means to you specifically.
That's it.
What it is. And then I think it at that point it becomes about like how difficult it was to get it, the hardship and the challenges that you faced to get there, and a lot of it is about like proving things to yourself and your own ability. Like that's what it's always been to me. Is like set this impossible goal that I know I'm really going to enjoy the chase of. That's going to be really, really fucking hard. But when I get there, I'll be able to look back on it and go, fucking hell, man, I'm capable of doing something that I thought at one point was absolutely ludicrous. And it's killed me to get there, but I did it.
That is what you just described there is my whole motivation for all of this. It's that like ability to prove something to myself, especially when I started and I was just like really out of shape. I've never taking my top off in public or whatever. And I was looking at these physiques. I was looking at like IFBB pros, and it'd be like, right, that would be unreal if one day I could be a professional for my physique, which is something that I've never had. Like, so if I could prove that to myself, like that is the motivation. So I guess like, yeah, the card's the motivation, but the actual motivation I get when I don't feel like doing it is that end goal. Like knowing that, yeah, I may not feel like it today, but this is another day closer to it if I do it today.
It's I've got a question for you, Ben. What would happen? I don't think this will happen. I genuinely don't think this will happen. But how do you feel if I said to you that you never got your pro card? In the next 5 years, you were at it and you developed a really fucking incredible physique and you had a couple of good runs, and like imagine like a Joe Ballinger situation, but it never happened, right? How would you feel about it? Because and the reason why I'm asking you that is because I think that mindset you've got there is mint. And it's really fucking, and people will go, well, it's really unhealthy because it's like proving something to yourself and blah, blah, blah. Like you are good enough. But I think it's only unhealthy if you don't achieve the goal and you think of yourself poorly for not achieving the goal in the end. Like, and don't appreciate the journey and the effort that it took you to work up to that anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So how would you feel about yourself if it never happened?
Joe, I would very much accept it because through this process, I've learned that I just love this lifestyle. I love doing this every day, regardless of what happens and what I get at the end of it. I do love doing this. And it just, I don't know, like waking up and bodybuilding every day gives me a purpose. Like, and I feel like before I never had a purpose. And I feel like if you're like, especially if you're a man and you don't have any sort of purpose in your life, you can get lost very quickly and go down like a very bad way. And I feel like that's where I was going. And then bodybuilding came along, and look, I've got a purpose every day. I've got something to wake up for every day and work towards. And that's the main thing, really. I'm just doing something every day, which I'm progressing towards. I'm enjoying, and if it comes, happy days. If not, at least I know I've put in everything I could to get to that point.
I think that there's a lot of men out there that are searching for meaning, aren't they? And I think bodybuilding and physique development gives a lot of young men meaning and something to chase and strive towards. And I think, like all of us here will attest to, we're able to look back a year, 2 years, 3 years, and go, regardless of a result, regardless of a trophy or a placing or a pro card, we can all look back and go, has bodybuilding been a net positive in my life over the last whatever period of time? And I go, well, where I was 5 years ago was living in a semi-detached, furnitureless house, sleeping on a mattress on the floor with my brother, making fucking minimum wage, right? And then I go where I am now, and I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Like, who I am now is not, you wouldn't even recognize me who I was 5 or 6 years ago. It's the same with every single one of you. It's like, I look at where you are now and who you were three years ago, and like, all of you have grown so much, like emotionally, mentally, what you want from life, who you are, your personalities have changed, and for the better as well. Like, they've grown. You just, and as I said at the start of the podcast, like, you're all just fucking mint people. And that's been a product of what bodybuilding has. Bodybuilding has given you a platform to be able to grow in those ways. And I think as long as you can recognise that, regardless of the result in whatever time frame, then it's a really positive thing. That's when it becomes. That is really it's about the journey, not the destination. That's the definition of it.
Yeah, 100%.
Ruben,
yes.
What's your motivation? What motivates you? What gets you going when you're not feeling it?
My motivation for in the times when it gets difficult is the exact same as the part that excites me the most, and that's just how long I've been at the things that I've been doing, or how long it's been in my head. Because I've been going to the gym with the goal of looking like a bodybuilder since I was like 15. That's like 11 years ago now. So it's like I'm in so deep, and I've seen how much better and better and better I've got. Every day that I've put in recently has been 10 times the amount I got in the first year. So it's like just thinking about how exciting that compounding effect is. If I stick to it, the same thing we were talking about with Natty Ben, the longer you just stick to it, you're going to get so much better at what you were doing, and you're going to get more out of each day than you did the last day, because you just keep getting better. So it's like I have the privilege of being like a decade into this now. So I'm so good at it that I'm gonna gain so much if I just stick to it now, because I've had these goals in my head since I was a teenager. And
so
in the first year,
Ruben, so what does that actively look like for you? Like, I'm understanding what you're saying, but how do you action that? So you wake up in the morning, or there's a moment of like low motivation. The reason why I'm asking this question, by the way, is because I think it's fucking really useful for anyone watching. Right, and like, as 3 guys who have changed their lives the way that you guys have, in the ways that you have, I think these kind of things are really, really useful for anyone in your positions or at different stages. So, like, how do you action what you've just said there? Like, what do you think? How do you behave?
If I wake up and the motivation isn't there, I don't want to do it. I'm like, you have to think about the fact that I've got so much time under my belt that I can gain so much from doing just the maintenance amount, just what I did yesterday. I'm going to get more out of it today than I did the day before that. So it's like you're in a position to, if you just stick to it, if I just drag my feet through and do the bare minimum, I'm still going to get more than I did however many years ago. And it's that compounding effect that is both exciting, but it's also the reason to stick to it.
It's a very internal motivation that I don't think I've got. I don't think I could do that.
If you think
I'm not saying it's a bad thing, by the way. I'm just saying
if you think about you've been talking about how much better your process has been getting. So imagine, like, if you look back at your prep, your last prep in 2023. If you think about the next time you go through a prep, you're gonna the progress that you saw from that prep the progress that you saw, where you're like, holy shit, I did that. But if I do it again, I'm going to do even more. So it's like the shit part's already been done. You've got the experience. Yeah.
I'm already getting excited about it.
I've always thought about it the same way that I used to think about like just grinding video games. Like when you're grinding for like Call of Duty camos, it's like I've already got all the attachments on this gun now. It's the best this gun's gonna get. I need to stick to it now because I've already done the hard challenges. So it is just a case of just sticking to like the little exciting things. But when the motivation isn't there, you're gonna get more if you just do the bare minimum.
I think it's a difficult question. This motivating, only because when you're like when you've been doing this for a long time and you've got a very locked in routine, you do rely on the discipline side of things. You do rely on the parts of, I'm just going to do this regardless of how I feel, because this is just how I do it. So it is difficult to be like, where is my motivation when it's just I'm not really relying on my motivation. I am just doing it because it's part of the daily thing I do.
I've always said that my goal is necessarily... I was going to say, off of what Ben said, while my goal is competitive, if tomorrow they were like, never mind, bodybuilding's cancelled, no more shows ever, I would still wake up and do the same thing. Like, it's still just the process that is the exciting part. So it isn't even a case of like discipline or like motivation at that point. It's just that's the life that we've chosen now.
Let me frame it a bit differently then. The discipline is so locked in. It's there. Like I'm the same, mate. Like all my meals get done regardless of how I feel. I eat all of my meals regardless of how I feel.
Do you think we should get credit for that being discipline, or is that just what we like doing?
No, it's definitely discipline because I definitely have that ability to just fucking like roll up a joint, smoke it, and then do fuck all day.
Yeah, but the thing is, nobody. People that do the same thing every day, like no one's going, oh mate, one of my friends plays FIFA every day, he's so disciplined. It's like, no, he just loves doing it. It's like
I mean, Ed, that's a very fucking good point.
I've got something I want to add.
It's like people give me credit, and I'm like, don't give me credit for that because it's not discipline.
I would say, so what I'm getting from this conversation is discipline, and sort of that is the foundation. But if you're wanting more motivation, you're wanting it to feel better while you're doing it. It's like, I think there's definitely something to be said. There's definitely something to be said about the way in which you do things will directly affect how you feel about them. So like, if you're living, like for me, if I feel like I'm living like a pro, like I hear athletes talk about this all the time. You're literally doing everything in your power. That's giving you back. That's going to make you feel so good. And in turn, you're going to feel better doing it. And that's going to make you feel more motivated to do it. So it's not as black and white as like you've just got to do it regardless of how you feel. But that sort of being mindful of how you're doing things is important, I would say.
Mate, that is awesome. And that's what I was going to frame it as. I was going to frame it a little bit differently, which was I'm going to give a training analogy, right? You go to the gym and you train regardless of how you feel. Sometimes you're a little bit like, oh, fucking hell, I'm feeling a bit run down. Sometimes you're like, this isn't my favourite day of the week. Sometimes you're like, oh, I'm a bit apprehensive about this session. And you go into it, and whilst you're going to do it because the discipline is there, and because you overall, you enjoy it and you love going to the gym as like a whole, but in that moment, there's something maybe not really fully throwing you into that session. How do you motivate yourself to operate in that session? You know the way that you want to maximize that session, which is enthusiasm and energy and a bit of, do you know what I mean? Just a bit of fucking, do you know what I mean? Like, how do you motivate yourself to bring the energy levels up to do something? And it's the same as like just doing shit around the house. Like, I think when it comes to like operating like a bodybuilder, there's a lot of people that can do it. A lot of people can have the discipline to like operate like a bodybuilder, but there's a lot of people who don't do it with the same level of fire and like real enthusiasm and energy as the need to really maximize it. Because I think feeling happy and feeling motivated is also a massive part of physique development and bodybuilding. Like the more time you spend in a good headspace, the more time your brain and your body feels positive shit, the more your body's going to react to that like in a positive way. Whereas if you kind of just like moping around doing things, you're like, doing this, what next? I've got to do it. Like how? And I think, and one of my top answers, so I'll give you my answer. One of my top answers to this question was music all the time. it's on all the time. I've got music just playing constantly in my ear or out loud, and it's almost just like I'm bobbing around, just doing shit all day. Like I just fucking love it, and I think
See, I don't do that with music. I don't listen to music outside of training. I've just got podcasts and shit playing. I just feel like
you're one of them.
I'm like, it's not even good podcasts. It's all just people chatting absolute shit. It's always just. It feels like I just put a conversation on that I'm not a part of. I'm just listening to people talking in the background. But with music, it literally I only listen to it in the gym, and that's because it gets such a strong reaction out of me that I almost need to like hold back on that tool. If I just walked around the house listening to fucking drum and bass, I'd wash the shit out of the dishes.
I'm like, I've started moving away from the drum and bass in the house. I've started like listening to Freya Riding and like Adele in the house.
No, I can only listen to like,
me a different kind of amped.
No, I can only listen to like girly bops and like country music outside of the gym. Anything else just gets me going a little bit too much. You throw in some Kelly Clarkson while I'm walking around the house. Oh, I'm off my nut. I can't control
it. Wicked. Anything else to add on that subject, on that topic?
What was your final answers for? Yeah.
My three were music. Music, action equals motivation is what I put. So what you just said earlier, Ben, just about like finding momentum through like one task, then the next. Just to remind myself that I'm like, I don't feel great now, or I don't feel particularly motivated now, but if after the next two tasks that I knock off, not after 10, not after 15, not after getting to the end of the day, because I think that's sometimes too long term. I think just do this next job, and by the time I've done the first or second, I'm like, yeah, I'm flying. Let's do this.
How often do you have to? So just on that note, how often do you have to rely on that motivation? Like how often do you have to go like to drag yourself to do bodybuilding shit, whether it's to go train or meal prep?
Never. Honestly, never. Like I don't have to motivate myself to do anything bodybuilding related, but I just like feeling good when I'm doing it. And I think sometimes we get caught up in the monotony of doing the same shit every day. And actually, I think, I don't know about anyone else, but I think this is one of the things I hate about myself the most is my brain naturally leans into negativity. That's how I've understood that about myself now. And I have to be super careful of that and aware of it. My brain is just wired to just lean into negative. And so what I can do, when I'm doing something that doesn't require all of me, when I can go autopilot, it means that I can drift off. So I don't remain present. So, when it comes to meal prepping, I can literally be like my brain is off, switched off, and I'm moving between things, and I'm doing it like it's almost second nature, which then lets my head go to places because it doesn't require all of my focus. And when my head's going to places, 9 times out of 10, it's not somewhere great. And I'm not talking about fucking blowing my brains out or anything. Jesus, it's like not heavy. It's just something like that isn't very nice. That I just don't need to be. I don't need to be saying that to myself, or I don't need to be thinking about that. In fact, I just need to change the script. What I'm thinking about could be turned into a positive. I just need to put a different perspective on it. And I think sometimes I need to remind myself that. And when I'm in a good place, when I feel motivated, and when I'm like, when I've got energy and I'm feeling amped and I'm moving good, my head doesn't do that. And I think music is a really good part of that. It makes me feel in a good place, which inevitably leads my head to being in a better place when I'm doing like bodybuilding stuff. And that's something that I've learned for me over the last couple of years has been massive. Is just making sure that my mind frame is not even in. It's not about it being not in a bad place. It's just don't let it be neutral. Right? Like I have control of how I feel every day. And it's up to me to do something about that. Why would I be neutral or nothing or leaning into negativity when I could be motivated and excited and energetic? Like why would I do that if I can do the alternative? And I think that's crucial to bodybuilding as well. I think it's massive. Again, what Ben said about how you do things. Like how it's not just about the doing, it's the quality of the doing. And I think where your head and your body is, how your central nervous system feels, I think that's also crucial to how you digest your food and absorb it. I think it's crucial to how you recover, how you sleep, how you train, how you communicate with people. I think it's massive. Like every fucking aspect of that, I think is really, really important.
Yeah, it's like the difference of like walking into the gym and just going through your session, or having like a monster session where you were like focused on every single set. It is just you technically did the same task on paper. It's just when you enjoyed it, it's a lot more productive.
You don't want to be going to the gym and like just be on autopilot, or you don't want to just be ticking a box when you go to the gym. You want to be in it. Like you want to be really in it and excited at the prospect of progress and pushing and like
and you want that to start before the gym, where you it's like where you enjoy the lead up, where you're like, I'm about to go train, and then you're in the gym, you're like, I've got this exercise, you can get fully locked in on that, rather than just like, you know, when you get to the end of your session, you're like, you look through your logbook, you're like, I did everything. I wasn't present for it.
Yeah, that's shit.
I think it's important to note though that you are just going to have those days. Like no matter how much you try to motivate yourself and try to do all these things, some days you're just going to have those days where you are just ticking the boxes and you just feel a bit meh. Like and you just need to accept that. Like, and the quicker you accept that you're going to have those days, the quicker you're going to have the better days as well.
And
so
you can pull out the tools to make the most of it, but it's still going to be a bit wank. It's like there's days. I remember there were days on prep where it was like the session's going to be shit. You're going to go in, everything's going to hurt more than it usually does. You're probably not going to take any progressions. You're not going to get a pump. You're going to look at yourself afterwards and go, I look a bit flat and a bit shit. But it's like you just have to get it done. You just bring whatever you can to that session, pull out whatever music, whatever tools, whatever training partner you got to make the most of it. It's not going to be as good as the sessions you've had in the past.
I think something you've said there as well, Ben, by the way, is, and I've just thought of this, is, and I don't know the answer to it, but is constantly operating at this level, like if your baseline is here, let's say that's for me, my baseline is here, and I'm constantly trying to like drive myself artificially up here or here, is that going to wear me out in a different way long term?
Yeah, I think so. And I think what we would do is, say you operate here and you're trying to constantly push yourself here, there's going to come a point where you end up falling down here because of it.
Yeah,
that applies to really well.
You need to know, like, it's the same as anything in life. It's peaks and troughs. Like the main thing is your balance. Yeah, you're gonna have these days where they're really good, but they will come with days where they're really bad too. And overall, your balance is in the middle. Days will be really good. Days will be really bad. Some will be a little bit good. Some will be a little bit bad. Some will just be meh.
In terms of coaching, when you try to give too much, you end up burning yourself out, and everyone's getting a worse service than they would have. It's like you operate at this level, and then if you try to do a little bit too much, you try to give everyone more time, and then you start taking away from the quality of what you're actually providing. So this standard is just not there. You will burn yourself out.
That's a really good point.
The last thing I'll add. Sorry, mate, go on.
No, go on, Ben. Go on. You said.
I was going to say, the last thing I'll add, if your motivation is something that should fluctuate, right? But if you're constantly not motivated to do something, ask yourself the question, like, do you even enjoy this thing? Because you should feel passionate about it.
That's important.
Like, if you have to bully yourself to do something every single day, like, yeah, you can do it. You're really disciplined, but what's the point? Like, you want to enjoy it. So
I think that's why I struggle with this question, because the boring, monotonous tasks that people struggle with in bodybuilding, I get enjoyment from. Like, so that's why it's hard. Like me going down,
I don't think I deserve any credit for doing that.
Yeah, like Ruben said, like someone playing the Xbox, like that's not discipline. They're enjoying doing it. Like I get enjoyment. I get enjoyment from making my meals, from doing my steps, from my cardio. Like I get enjoyment from that.
If something gets in the way of doing that, then I start feeling like shit. That's when I get annoyed and get like anxious about it.
It's really hard to round this off because I enjoy it as well, but I'm struggling. I don't understand why. Because when I'm ticking boxes, I feel great doing it. And once I get to the end of the day and I've done everything, I feel great doing it. And I still want to do it when I get up in the morning. But while I'm doing it, sometimes I can be drifting off places, and I just lean into that negativity. And my mood isn't about the thing that I'm doing and my enjoyment for that thing. My mood becomes about all the other things that I'm thinking about and how distracted I can get. I think
Max, I've got a simple answer for you, and it comes into the music. It's ADHD. That's your ADHD.
Yeah.
Like that is what's playing.
When your head goes negative places, it has nothing to do with the task at hand.
Nothing, absolutely nothing. Do you know
Is
what
it just random shit about the future, or is it about the past?
It's always about it's always anxiety related. It's never about the past. Once things shit has been and gone, I don't give a fuck about it. It's everything about what's coming, and I'm always like it's like my bodybuilding journey. Stuff to do with finances, stuff to do with the business, my parents, like they're getting old, things like that. At the time that I spend with my littlest brother Harry, and I'm going, I need to spend more time with him, and it feels unfair that I'm doing so much with Harvey. But you know, he's 18. We should. And I rattle through all of like basically every minor negative or potential problem I have, or I think I have. That comes to the forefront of my mind, and what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to fix it, but I can't do it in my head while I'm doing my fucking meal prep. I can't fix it. So
I think it would help to.
What I need to do is that I need to write. I probably need to write more of it down and like learn to address it away from what I'm actually doing. But yeah, no, you're right. The ADHD is definitely it's my attention deficit. I can't fucking stay present on a thing.
It's hard when you're doing like a.
Do you have you ever found any ways to bring yourself back into the present moment, or is it like it's too late by the time you realize?
The music's a distraction.
Music keeps me grounded, because I can't. I'm too stimulated by the music. Not overstimulated. It just stimulates me enough to just stay on task.
It's because you're doing. It's because you're doing a task which requires no thought. So then you can think about other things, and that's when you start thinking about these things which are making you anxious. But when you've got the music on, guess what you're thinking about? You're thinking about the music. So
I think the way that you digest music is different to me, because if I've got music on, the music's just in the background and I can have my thoughts happening. If I've got a podcast, if people are talking, I'm thinking about the things they're saying, and that's when that's when my brain's silenced because I don't have time.
This is really interesting.
But because music, I'll just think through it.
I can't multitask through a podcast because it's too much. It's too much stimulation. I can. The only time I can do a podcast is. This is why I struggle to do them as much as other people. I think because I need to either be driving, on a walk, or doing nothing. That's the only time I can. Because I feel like it requires all of my attention.
On a walk, depends what podcast you're listening to.
If I'm doing like tasks around the house or little jobs, that there'll be like little moments where I break what I'm doing. I'll be like, oh, I'm supposed to make this meal and do this, and then I'll go, oh, what am I doing next? And then as I'm thinking about that, I'm not thinking about the podcast. And then I miss 15, 20 seconds. And then I go back to it and I'm like, where the fuck was I? This is really interesting.
I think I'm noticing you're listening to a lot more like high quality podcasts than me. Mine do not need attention.
Ruben's just listening to like bro chat.
I've just got Theo Vaughn in my ears, and this guy's trying to study this podcast.
It's more when I listen to podcasts, it's more educational stuff, or the Modern Wisdom one with Chris Williamson.
The only educational ones I go through is like Steve's old shit, because to be fair, all of the like Steve, Dr. Dean, sometimes I go back to the old Muscle Mentors podcast. I downloaded them. They've taken them off Spotify, but I downloaded them in like 2018, so I've still got them all. Still listening to Carl and Luke talk. That's like the only educational ones I have. Otherwise, they're just comedians chatting shit.
Right, boys, I'm gonna call it that because I'm desperate for a piss. I've got through 2.5 liters of this in this call. I don't know how to round it off. We'll probably look to do this again in a week's time. We'll try and make them a little bit shorter than this as well. I think with the introduction of this podcast,
mate, we've not spoke for a while either, have we? So a lot of this was just us chatting. So yeah.
And I think 2 hours for the first one with the introduction and all that kind of crap was great. The next ones will probably be like an hour to an hour and 30 minutes maximum. If you enjoyed the podcast, subscribe, all that kind of crap. And I hope you enjoyed it. Ruben, what are you saying?
I was going to say in the future we're probably going to have more like topics on hand instead of like the introduction stuff. There's going to be more things either in the moment that's happening or things coming up that we'll be able to address.
Yeah, definitely. This was definitely just a case of us like all catching up, talking about introducing ourselves, like you say, the introductions a bit more, and then just letting things flow. But we'll have things more lined up to actually talk about and get through. And like I said, the podcast will be a little bit shorter. But boys, it's been an absolute pleasure catching up with you
as always,
and I look forward to the next one. Should we try and have these roll out weekly?
Yeah, I think weekly's good.
Yeah.
Ben? Yeah, wicked. All right.
Yeah.
Boys, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in a bit.
In a bit.
Yeah.
Peace.